च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. Namaskar to all of you. Welcome to the study of the life of direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. Since yesterday we have begun the study of the life of Swami Adbhutanandaji Maharaj, we shall now continue. Yesterday we saw that the wonderful teaching of Sri Ramakrishna, which was heard by Latu Maharaj for the first time, which inspired him towards spiritual life. Mind to move towards God. One day, Latu heard Sri Ramakrishna's teachings from Ramachandra Datta, the owner in whose house this young boy Latu was working as a servant. So now Ramachandra Datta is repeating some of Sri Ramakrishna's teaching. And what is that? God sees into the mind of a man without concern for what he is or where he is. Such a man, God reveals himself. One should call on him with a simple and innocent heart. Without sincere longing, none can see God. One should pray to him in solitude and weep for him. Only then he will bestow his mercy. These words quietly wiping tears from his eyes. However, he never told anyone to eagerly waited for an opportunity to see Sri Ramakrishna. On Sunday, either in late 1879 or 1880, while Ramachandra Datta was getting ready to go to Dakshineshwar, Latu asked him, "Sir, would you take me with you? I want to see Sri Ramakrishna." Observing Latu's eagerness, earnestness, Ramachandra Datta agreed to take him. When the master saw Latu, he asked Ramachandra Datta, "Ram, did you bring this boy with you? Where did you get him? I see some holy signs in him." Ramakrishna asked Latu to sit down and began to speak about ever free souls. Ever free souls are the souls who are liberated, but they don't want to merge in the Parabrahman, the Lord. They can easily merge and enjoy. They get infinite joy out of it. But why have they not merged in that the highest attraction? We cannot give up the attraction, the small attraction compared to that Parabrahma Swarupa. It's 1 millionth or 1 trillionth of a part of the joy of Brahman, infinite part, infinitesimally small. So we get attracted to such joys of the world and we give up so many good things, our dharma, our righteousness, and go in the wrong path for these small petty joys of the world. Then when you have got that highest joy, the infinite joy, how can you withstand that intensity of the feeling to go and merge in it? You cannot. But the great souls who have realized God, the ever free souls, they come back to this world of sorrow, to this world of transmigratory existence. Why? Out of compassion. What for? For other living beings. They are suffering so much in this world. So we shall also tell them, why do you suffer in pursuit of these small, petty, puny joys? I have seen, I have realized that highest, the infinite joy. Why waste your life on these smaller things? Come, I will show you that highest joy. So they come back out of compassion. Again and again, they will take lives to help all other people who are suffering. So they are ever free souls. They will come down to the earth with little, superimposing little maya or ignorance upon them, to come down to this world, and then within a short time they realize God and then help the other people to do so. So they are ever free souls. So Ramakrishna is describing about these ever free souls. The moment he saw Latu Maharaj, he could recognize that ever free soul in him. And describing about these ever free souls, Ramakrishna is telling the knowledge of those who are ever free souls only needs to be unveiled, as it were, because they are already there, just like Swami Vivekananda would be called by Ramakrishna as Dhyana Siddha, an adept in meditation. He was merged in Samadhi in the Saptarshi Mandala. Now, Ramakrishna, while coming down from that highest state, the Parabrahma Swarupa taking the human form, he went to that Saptarishi, one of the greatest Saptarishis, and asked, I am going down to the world to help the people. Will you also come? And that Saptarishi came down. That was Swami Vivekananda. So they are adept in meditation. They are experts in Samadhi. They are merged in Samadhi, the highest yogic vision. But they have kept a separate individuality just to come down anytime at the command of the Lord to come and help the people, to remove the suffering of the humanity. So now Ramakrishna is explaining about them. The knowledge of those who are ever free souls only needs to be unveiled, as it were. Just they have covered themselves with little ignorance just to come down to this world. Otherwise, you can't take a human body without imperfections. If you are perfect, if you are realized, if you have all the perfection, how can you take a human birth? So you should superimpose or take up little imperfection on you. So the knowledge of those who are ever free souls only needs to be unveiled, as it were. They are like ever green springs, the springs, the underground springs, which remain covered until a stonemason digging in the earth removes a particular small rock. Then the water begins to flow. Saying this, immediately Ramakrishna went and touched Latu. And that boy of maybe 10 or 12 or whatever went into an ecstatic state. Tears trickled from his eyes and his lips began to quiver with emotions. This continued for an hour. That experience of Bhava Samadhi, of God, getting the joy of that God, continuously, incessantly, he was shedding tears out of joy, tears of joy. We cry, we weep when we are helpless, when our ego is crushed, when we are in sorrow. But also we cry, we shed tears out of joy too. So now the joy of infinity, the joy of the Lord is so great. So experiencing that bliss, Latu is incessantly shedding tears. He's having that ecstatic state. That boy went into an ecstatic state. Tears trickled from his eyes, and his lips began to quiver with emotion. This continued for an hour. At last, the master touched Latu, and he slowly returned to a normal state of consciousness. We are in this conscious world, normal state of consciousness. That is still higher. How many states are there? Waking state, then sleeping, then when you go deeper into sleeping, deep sleep, sushupti. Jagrat is the waking state. Swapna is the dream state. Sushupti is deep sleep. Then there is the real state, our true nature. That is the reality. All these waking state and other things are the dream. Though Sushupti is a dream state compared to this waking state. And then there is the Swapna, sorry, not Sushupti. Swapna. Sushupti, the deep sleep state, where there will be no dream. You will be merged in the Lord, which is within your heart. Only difference is you'll be having the cover of ignorance in Sushupti. So when you wake up, you will come back as a ignorant person with all the imperfections. But when you go to that higher state, the ever waking, that is Turiyavastha, our real state, then all the imperfections will vanish. It will be broken. All the bondages will be broken. So now, Latu Maharaj, the boy of 12 or whatever, has got that taste and vision of that wonderful state, the reality. Compared to that, our real state, even this waking state in which we are living now at present, is also a dream. So Ramakrishna had to bring down that boy's mind from that higher state with his touch. He was continuously for more than 1 hour in that state. If he continues in that, then he will merge in that Parabrahman. He will not come back. So Ramakrishna had to bring down his mind. At last, the master touched Latu and he slowly returned to a normal state of consciousness. Now, Sri Ramakrishna asked his nephew Ramalal, his elder brother's son, was doing puja in Dakshineshwar because Ramakrishna could no more perform the worship. So, Divine Mother Kali, Bhavatarani, was worshipped by the nephew Ramalal. So this Ramalal who was there, Ramakrishna asked his nephew Ramalal to give some prasad of Mother Kali to Latu and then sent him to visit the Kali temple. From the very beginning, Sri Ramakrishna recognized Latu's divinely pure nature, which he had verified by touching him. Now, as I told you yesterday, Ramakrishna had the capacity to see any human being or anything. What is his samskara? What are the vasanas? What is in his mind? What are his thoughts? What is his future? What is his past? What is the present? Just by the look at that person, all the things would be revealed to Sri Ramakrishna, just like things are revealed, known to you when kept in a glass case. Now, Ramakrishna not only saw that Latu is a divine person or some signs of ever free souls, but by the touch, he touched him to give him that higher state. He touched him so he could know many, many more things too. He collected all the data. Just like when you plug in to the hard disk of your computer through a cord, or through the present day so many technology, even cordless, and all the data is transferred into another hard drive or hard disk, or wherever you want, or you want to project it on a screen through the PPT or whatever, the whole data is transferred like that. Now Ramakrishna could get every detail of this boy just by that touch, spiritual touch. Ramakrishna now recognized Latu's divinely pure nature, the purity, which he had verified by touching him. First he saw that he was a divine soul. Now he wanted to verify. How did he verify? By the touch he could verify. By the touch he gave him the experience, and also by the touch he could verify both the things, subjective and objective. When Ramachandra Datta and Latu were about to return to Calcutta, Ramakrishna said to the former, that is Ramachandra Datta, see, for the sake of this divine soul, for the sake of other humanity, to give a wonderful realized soul and do the service of the humanity in whom all the divine, the Lord exists. So Ramakrishna is requesting Ramachandra Datta, please send Latu here from time to time, because Latu belongs to the owner. Ramachandra Datta was a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. So he's requesting him, Ramachandra Datta. Though he is a devotee, Ramakrishna could have commanded. But see the humble nature, humility of Sri Ramakrishna. He's requesting him, Ram, please send Latu here from time to time. Now Latu's body returned to Calcutta, but his mind remained in Dakshineshwar. So only his physical body returned to Calcutta, but his mind, heart, soul, everything remained in Dakshineshwar. See, when we get attracted to worldly objects, we feel that attraction. The worldly objects, to the intoxicants, to the worldly things in our life. When the first time a boy likes a girl or a girl likes a boy, you should see the attraction. So now you can see much more attraction to the spiritually awakened beings, to the Guru, to the Lord. All that will be turned towards God. We have discussed in the Bhagavad Gita one wonderful verse where Lord Krishna is telling how do the worldly people behave, what are their attraction, and how do the people who want God, who have turned their mind towards God, behave. So he compares them, these two states, to day and night. And then he gives a wonderful analogy, Lord Krishna, in this Bhagavad Gita verse 69 of the second chapter. What is that wonderful verse of the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is explained about the two different kinds of beings, who are the people who are attracted towards the worldly object and the people who are attracted towards God. Ya Nisha Sarvabhutanam tasyam jagarti sayami. Yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagarti sayami. Yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. I'll break down the verse because this is a very, very important verse. Every words of Lord Krishna is important, but this is special for the people who are seeking God. Wherever all our attraction should be turned to Ya, which Ya means which, WHICH. Nisha, Nisha means night. Sarvabhutanam, to all the beings. Tasyam, in that Jagarti, wakes up. Sanyami, a self-controlled person who's controlled all the senses and turns towards God, who's going towards God, is called Sanyami, the self-controlled person. Yasyam, in which Jagrati, wake up, Bhutani, all the ordinary living beings. Sa, that state, Nisha, night, Pashyato, of the seeing, Munehe, Muni sees only night in the things which the worldly people see. The realized soul or the person who wants to go towards God, he sees night in what all these worldly beings see day. So what is the meaning of that? That which is night to all beings, in that the disciplined man, the man who is a devotee of God, he wakes up. For all the worldly beings, that is night. They are sleeping. They are not awake to God consciousness for the love of God. There, this great soul who loves God, he wakes up. That in which all the living beings are awake, that is in the worldly enjoyment. That is night to the Atman cognizing Muni. So the faculty of seeing varies with beings in the physical plane. While men are able to see, men or women, just the word men is used for humanity, is able to see distinctly in broad daylight. Owls and other nocturnal animals are not able to do so. Day is therefore virtually night to them. And what is night to man actually serves as day to them. For they then discern well why they are awake to hunting and eating at the night time, nocturnal beings. Day and night as physical facts are one thing, and as of practical value another, quite for being differently constituted. Men are not at all wakeful to the same thing. A thief is well posted with particulars in his field, while the rest are hidden in darkness to him. To a gambler, his game is as bright as day. Other concerns about the wellness of the family and other people is enshrouded as if in darkness. The learned see well into the literary world, unmindful of everything. They forget everything. The literary figures, they are only interested in studying literature and other things. Everything else is covered in darkness. They are not at all aware of that. The same world opens up different vistas to different people in accordance with their dispositions. To people who are sense bound, now the real meaning of this verse comes here, giving examples so that we can understand. To people who are sense bound, things earthly are all real and they are immersed in them. They are only seeking enjoyment, money, selfishness. They are wakeful to the mundane, but to the people who have now developed love towards God, who want to seek God, who want to realize God, want to get the knowledge of God, Brahma Gnana, On the other hand, who has conquered the senses and who has awakened to the divine consciousness, the worldly things are, he is not interested in that. He will not be awake to them. He will not be wakeful there. The spectacle is different. His intuition, his concepts, his percepts are all filled in with divinity. Whatever is God to him, he cognizes existence. Everything in this world, he starts seeing God. In all, even in the worldly things, where the worldly people look for that enjoyment, intoxication, but this man sees only God in all those things. He cognizes existence as the Brahman or God and not as the mundane. According to the attainment, beings are attuned to different planes of existence. The enlightened one is in finale of it. So that is the meaning of Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam, this 69th verse of the second chapter. Let us see what Sri Ramakrishna tells in the Gospel about this verse of Lord Krishna. With the realization of God, everything undergoes transformation to the Gnani. It is God himself that has become the phenomenal universe and all the beings in it. The son is then perceived as the boy Krishna, a man who wants to see God, who has developed devotion to God. Now he will not see his own physical son, but he will be seeing Lord Krishna in him. Father and mother undergo metamorphosis as the divinity. He will see Shiva and Parvati in his father and mother, or Lakshmi or Narayana. The wife is no more his mate. He sees the cosmic mother in her, recognizing God in all. Adoration to him takes place through the worshipful service in every activity. So, similar meaning of Ramakrishna's teaching of this verse, you can understand this verse better with this teaching of Ramakrishna about Sri Krishna. Now let us come back to the condition of our great hero. Now we are studying his life. Through that life study, we are meditating on that wonderful avatar of Sri Ramakrishna, the divine. So that is our main goal, to come to God through all these things, because the study of the life of Adbhutanandaji will take us to God. So now, Latu's body only returned to Calcutta. His mind, though a young boy now, 12 years or 13 years or 14 years, is not attracted to the mundane things. It is not attracted to girl, a beautiful girl, or worldly things, but it is now attracted to the Guru. It is attracted towards the Lord. So Latu's body returned to Calcutta, but his mind remained in Dakshineshwar. He is sleeping to the worldly enjoyments. He is now awake to divinity. After his first meeting with Sri Ramakrishna, Latu began finding it difficult to work for Ramachandra Datta with his earlier enthusiasm. Now, earlier, he was a servant to the master Ramachandra Datta. So he was serving them with great faithfulness because he was getting money from them. Now, Latu lost all interest in that. He doesn't have any enthusiasm now because his mind, his enthusiasm has changed the direction towards the higher being, his Guru and his Ishtadevata. It was now difficult for him to serve Ramachandra Datta with his earlier enthusiasm. After a few weeks in February 1880, Ramachandra Datta expressed a desire to send some sweets and fruits to Sri Ramakrishna. Latu immediately said, "Sir, I will carry your things to the master, waiting for an opportunity. How shall I go? How shall I see Ramakrishna? He's waiting, he's on the tips of his toe, is waiting to rush. So, as soon as he heard Ramachandra Datta telling that I want to send some fruits and sweets to Sri Ramakrishna to Dakshineshwar, he grabbed that opportunity. Latu told Ramachandra Datta, Sir, I will carry your things to master. Now, Ramachandra Datta gave this opportunity. Now, alone, he took that sweets, he took that fruits. He walked all 6 miles in that hot Calcutta sun, sultry, so much humid, very difficult. People find it difficult to go in a air-conditioned car, AC car, in that city because of its heat. But Latu walked all 6 miles. He is not aware of the external things. Why? Because his mind is attracted to God. He is focused. The external things, heat or cold, vagaries of the weather, is nothing. Walking 6 miles is nothing. Focus, concentration. You want God. You love God. That's all. So now he walked all that 6 miles alone to Dakshineshwar with that sweets and fruits, carrying that heavy luggage of sweets and fruits. He met the master on the garden path and bowed down to him, jubilant. He was in that jubilant mood because he won. When you win the competition, you'll be so jubilant, isn't it? You get more marks in the examination, you pass, you get a rank, you are jubilant. So now, what is jubilant? All that is worldly joy. Where is Latu awake now? He is awake to the spiritual kingdom. The moment he saw Ramakrishna, he fell at his feet. What do we do when we see the Lord or great people? Immediately, we fall at them, at their feet. So we do Panchanga Namaskara. Most of us, we do Panchanga, that is half. What is that? Panchanga, 5 organs are touched to the ground. Our head, our hands, our feet. 2, 2, 4, and 1, 5. Our 2 feet are bent to the ground, touched to the ground. We touch our 2 hands to the ground, 4. Then the head to the ground, 5. That's called Panchanga Namaskar, half. Then there is this Ashtanga Pranama. Sa Ashta Anga, 8 limbs or 8 organs are touched to the ground. We fall flat, the hands, the head, the chest, the waist, the legs, everything. 8 organs are touched to the ground. When we go and stand in front of the Lord, we show our humility, we give up our ego by going down. The ordinary, most ordinary namaskara is touching both your hands. That's all. Still more humility, you want to give up your ego and show your respect to the Lord or to the elderly, to your father and mother. Panchanga Namaskar, 5 organs. For more interested to show more devotion to the Lord, Sashtanga Pranam. When you have completely surrendered to the Lord, you don't have time to see the 5 anga or 8 anga. You just fall flat on the ground. That is Dirgha Danda Namaskar. Danda, a long stick. When it doesn't have a support, how does it fall to the ground? The stick falls simply like this. No anga, other things. So that is called Dirgha Danda Pranam. Dirgha Danda, long stick falling to the ground. So you make your body just fall to the ground in front of the Lord. That is called Dirgha Danda Namaskar. So now he's so jubilant. The first thing he did when he saw the Lord, when he saw Ramakrishna was, Latu, he just fell flat on the ground. So happy to see Ramakrishna. So see the difference between the worldly and the divine people. They are awake to something else. So that is what is the meaning of Sri Krishna telling Ya Nisha Sarvabhutanam. Now he met Sri Ramakrishna on the garden path and bowed down to him, jubilant. Then after that, Ramakrishna instructed him to go to the shrine to see Divine Mother Kali, have the darshan there, and also go to all the Shiva temples, go to Radha Kanta temple, there Krishna. So Latu visited the temple deities and returned back to Ramakrishna. When Sri Ramakrishna asked him to have lunch there in Dakshineshwar, Latu declined because Latu was a very strict vegetarian. He was afraid to eat the non-vegetarian meal in the temple of Kali because Divine Mother Kali, they offer non-vegetarian dishes to her. So Latu was a strict vegetarian. He declined to take the prasada of Kali temple. The master informed him that the vegetarian prasad was also available from the Radhakanta temple, Vishnu temple, and that prasad is pure. However, Latu expressed a desire to eat the master's prasad. So maybe all this was a drama of Latu to decline Kali's prasad, to decline Radhakanta prasad. What did he want? He wanted the prasad of Ramakrishna, the leftover food as taken by his Guru Ramakrishna, his Ishtadevata Ramakrishna. So maybe he is feigning, he is acting. He doesn't want to eat that, he doesn't want this. What does he really want? He wants his master's prasad, Sri Ramakrishna's prasad. However, Latu expressed a desire to eat Sri Ramakrishna's prasad. Ramakrishna smiled and told Ramlal, his nephew, look, this boy is so smart that he wants food from my share. Look, see, Ramakrishna is so humorous. He's telling his nephew, Ramlal, look, this boy is so smart that he wants food from my share. When Sri Ramakrishna had his lunch, he gave some food to Latu from his own plate. See the devotion of this wonderful boy. Just this is the second time he's meeting. He doesn't know anything about spirituality. See, devotion automatically expressing itself, manifesting itself. So when Latu expressed his desire to eat Master's Prasad, Ramakrishna smiled and told Ramlal, look, this boy is so smart that he wants food from my share. When Ramakrishna had his lunch, he gave some food to Latu from his plate. Latu stayed there with the master in Dakshineshwar the whole day and listened to the talks of Sri Ramakrishna with other devotees. The evening, when he was about to return to Calcutta, the master said to him, don't go on foot. Ramakrishna knew everything, that this boy has walked 6 miles and he doesn't care. He's so rough and tough, so sturdy, so strong, that he will walk back 6 miles. But Ramakrishna was concerned for him. So he's telling, my dear boy, do not walk all the distance back to the home. Then how should he go? Don't go on foot. Take some coins from here. Ramakrishna would not touch money. Whatever the money the temple authorities would give, 7 rupees, like pension, because he was serving Divine Mother Kali as the pujari. So after that too, Mathurnath Babu and Rani Rasamani had given the order that Ramakrishna should be paid like pension, but Ramakrishna would not touch it. He would not work for money, he was working for devotion. So he would not use that money for himself, he used to give like this to the devotees or some people. He would not touch it also. To tell there some coins are there, you can go and take some coin for your boat or horse carriage charges. Or he would ask them to go to Holy Mother Sharda Devi, and she would be having that money and get that money from Mother Sharda Devi. So now, don't go on foot, my dear boy. Take some coins from here and get a seat in a boat or a carriage. But Latu, innocent boy, a small boy, you see, very innocent. Just like small children, he showed his pocket. See, I have some coins. I don't want your coin. I have already some coins in my pocket. I don't want your coin. He showed that coin in his pocket like this, just like the small children show it. So Latu replied that he had coins and he even jingled them in his pocket. When there are coins, 2 or 3, when you shake it, it makes that jingling sound. So the boy is so innocent and playful, such a small boy, you see, he is now jingling it. I have coins, I don't need your coin, I will go by. Latu replied that he had coins and even jingled them in his pocket. The master smiled at Latu's guilelessness. That's very important. Guilelessness. Now Ramakrishna used his mantra, the great mantra. What is that? Abharesho. The loving way he would tell the devotees, come again. See, that's why all of us have gathered here again. Why? That call of Sri Ramakrishna, come again, is so attractive. We can't withstand. We wake up early in the morning. Can you imagine people getting up 5:30 or 6 o'clock, getting ready for hearing about Sri Ramakrishna eagerly? Yesterday, after the meeting, we saw on the YouTube channel about 100 people had attended on the present here live Google Meet. Now we are sitting face to face. About 25 people were there. And Facebook, about 30 people were there. So nearly 200 people or 300 people were viewing that. See, they were awake to spirituality. They could have slept nicely in the cold morning or enjoyed a coffee or walking outside, but they were glued to the computer or the screen or the TV. Why? They are awake to the Lord. They want the Lord. They are not like the other beings. You people are all not. You are awake to something else, to divinity. So now, guilelessness. Master smiled at Latu's guilelessness. Come again, said the master. So he used to use that word, come again, abar esho. The sweet way Ramakrishna used to tell, come again. The devotees may go back, but they can't withstand that call. They would rush back again to Dakshineshwar to have the vision of Sri Ramakrishna. Like we are all attracted towards him. After the second visit, Latu almost lost interest in his job. But he continued to do his duties. Ramachandra Datta and his wife observed the change in Latu. You can feel it, isn't it? One day, Ramachandra Datta mentioned this to Sri Ramakrishna, that Latu has lost all interest in the work. His mind is now towards God. He went and told this to Ramakrishna. The master told him, yes, it is understandable that Latu should act like this, for he longs to come here. He longs to come to me here, Dakshineshwar. Send him again sometimes. Ramachandra Datta sent Latu to Dakshineshwar the next day. A doctor had just come to see Sri Ramakrishna and had advised him to leave Calcutta area for some times for a change of climate. During those periods, less industries were there, the air was pure, everything was so good. 170 years back. And then doctors are advising Ramakrishna to leave Calcutta for pure air. Though Ramakrishna was living in Dakshineshwar in the garden, so doctors are advising to go to the pure atmosphere, outskirts. Then what about the present day? Now we are living in the midst of the city. The place where I live now, presently Johannesburg, is the least pollution. No pollution at all, very less. Whether the pure air or the weather or the water. But see, 175 years back, even in the garden house, the doctor is asking Ramakrishna to go to a better place to change the weather. Now, Latu came to Ramakrishna when a doctor had just come to Sri Ramakrishna, see Sri Ramakrishna, and advised him to leave the Calcutta area for some time for a change of climate. This meant a visit to the village of Kamarpukur, the master's birthplace, 60 miles northwest of Calcutta. Seeing Latu there, master said, no, out of love, Ramakrishna had changed the pet name already kept by Ramachandra Datta as Latu, the house, as Leto. His name is Rakturama. It became Latu in the family where he was working as a servant. Now Ramakrishna has made it still sweet by calling Leto. Leto, do not let your visits to this place, meaning himself. He would not use the word I because he had completely obliterated ego. You know, Ramakrishna, why would he not address him as I? You know what is the goal of spiritual life? We have a different idea of spiritual life. Swami Vivekananda, in his Karma Yoga, while he is explaining, he tells you take all the 4 yogas, Karma Yoga, Gnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, or any religions, Christianity, Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhism, Islam, Jaivism, Yahudi, Jewish religion, whichever, whatever, until now you have religion or anything. If you nicely crush them and get the residue, the essence of it, what is that? What is the essence of all the religions, all the paths? Swami Vivekananda in his Karma Yoga explains it as perfect self-abnegation. Removal of our ego completely. Ego is the screen which is obstructing us from having the vision of the Lord who is within us. He is more nearer to our father and mother. He is more nearer to our body. He is more near. God is more nearer to our mind. You are that. What is obstructing our vision? Ego. So removal of ego completely is called perfect self-abnegation. So that is the goal of spiritual life. But we in spiritual life, we do not know what is the goal. Instead of reducing the ego, we go on developing the ego, increasing our ego. We'll start declaring, hey, I'm coming to the ashrama, I'm coming to the temple or the church for 30 years, 20 years. So I should be respected first. I should be given first preference. I should be always taken care of first. They should hear my words. So we go on developing this type of spiritual ego, wrong ego, and becoming more egoistic. So we are going away from spiritual life. We are going away from God. Why? That is the stumbling block. Ego is Maya. Ego is the one which binds us to this world. Without ego, we are merged in God. So, removal of ego completely is the goal of spiritual life. And we, not knowing what is the source of spiritual life, essence of spiritual life, we go on increasing our ego, which is very, very peculiar. That's the irony. Now, Ramakrishna had completely obliterated the ego. Only Lord existed in him. You know, if you wanted earlier to see Mother Kali, you would call her and Mother Kali would be coming and giving him the vision. Then whenever he wanted afterwards, he would go to the temple and see the mother there. Later, he wanted much more. Always the Divine Mother should be with him. So separately, Divine Mother would be guiding him, taking him, talking to him, going with him. But that would not suffice. Later on, Divine Mother Kali started living in the body of Sri Ramakrishna. So next time he wanted to see Mother Kali, he would not call her, he would not go, because she is leaving now. Ramakrishna has become Kali. He had completely obliterated his individuality. That is the highest goal of spiritual life. So now if you wanted to see Kali, he will go to the mirror, he takes a mirror and he sees Kali, not himself. So now how can he address himself as I? There is only the Divine Mother, there is only the Lord within him. So he could not address himself as I. He would always tell this place here. So complete. So whatever now Vivekananda is interpreting there in Karma Yoga, goal of spiritual life, perfect self-abnegation, Ramakrishna has attained it. You want to see here the adjectives given of spiritual life? Where can I find it? See the life of Ramakrishna, see him, you find it there. The Upanishads, many things are told there. Where can I find it? See the life, you find it there. That is the reason why the Avatara came here in this form, and he's giving everything of spirituality. Everything is there, nothing is hidden. So now you can see he doesn't have any ego. He can't tell I. He's telling Latu, now I'll be going to Kamarpukur. So don't stop coming here. Here means to himself. Leto, do not let your visits to this place. He would not tell to visit me. To this place, meaning himself. Leto, do not let your visits to this place, meaning himself, affect your work. Ram is giving you shelter, food, clothing, and whatever else you need. It is not right for you to shirk your duties in his house. Be careful that you are not ungrateful. So when you take money, when you work for a company, when you work for a master, you should not be ungrateful, because he is giving you shelter, food and everything. Many of the time we work in the government offices, we work for the company, for the master, we take the money, but we are not at all grateful. We take bribes, we take so many things, and we don't do our work properly. So now a message to all the people who are working. See, though it is given to Latu by Ramakrishna, we can take it. See that wonderful teaching. Leto, do not let your visits to me affect your work. You have to do your work properly with great sincerity. Ram is giving you shelter. There to Latu it was Ram. But for us, we are working in a bank or we are working in a multinational company, wherever it might be. So that company or the master there is giving us food, shelter, clothing, and whatever else we need. It is not right for you to shirk your duties. You have to do our duties properly. Be careful that you are not ungrateful. So this teaching of Sri Ramakrishna holds good to everybody. All the people who are working, we should work to our company or to the government or wherever with great sincerity. At this reproofs, because Ramakrishna is telling you should not neglect the work of Ramachandra's house. He's giving you shelter, food, and everything. At this reproof, tears came to Latu's eyes. He pleaded Sri Ramakrishna. He said, Sir, Master, I don't want to have a job anymore. I don't want the money. I don't want the shelter in Ramchandra Datta. I don't want that job anymore. Why? I only want to stay here and serve you. I want you. I want God. I want to stay here. I will come here. I don't want that job. I don't want that money. I don't want anything, shelter or anything. Then what do you want? I want you. I'll come here to the Kshaneshwar. I'll be here. I'll be serving you. I don't want any payment or anything. I don't want. I just want to serve my Guru. I want you. I'll come to this place. See that intensity of spiritual life in that small boy. I only want to stay here and serve you, Master. So Ramakrishna is telling now, questioning him. But if you stay here, who will work for Ram's family? Answered Ramakrishna gently. Ram's family, that is Ramchandra Datta's family, is my family also. Now Latu, beginning to weep, replied, the young boy, see young children, when they feel helpless, they start weeping. So now here Latu is weeping. He's weeping more. Latu now beginning to weep replied, no, I shall never go back there again. I want to stay here with you. I want you. But Ramakrishna told, but I shall not be here. I'm going to Kamakpukur. When I return back, then you can come and stay here. Now I'm going to Kamarpukur for some months. So I will not be here. So don't come immediately. But when I come back, you can come here, stay here and serve me. But I will not be here, said the master. I'm going to Kamarpukur. When I return, then you can come. Unwillingly, Latu returned to Calcutta. This time, he had heard a beautiful teaching. Let us now concentrate, focus on what is that beautiful teaching of Sri Ramakrishna. If that would attract and would be called beautiful teaching by Latu Maharaj, that will be also definitely very beautiful for us too. So let us focus, catch it, catch hold of that teaching and hide it in our heart and always repeat it inside within. Latu unwillingly returned to Calcutta. This time he had heard a beautiful teaching that the master had given to a devotee. It was also applicable to himself. What is that teaching? Do all your duties, whether it is household, whether it is office, whether it is school, whether you are a student, all your duties. Do all your duties, but keep your mind in God. There is no objection for your work. Do all your work. Work for your wife, for your husband, for your children, for your father and mother, for the master, for your boss, for the office, for the salary, everything. You can do all the work. But what is important? Keep your mind on God. The teaching which was given by Ramakrishna to another devotee was so helpful. Immediately, Latu caught hold of that teaching and he started applying it immediately. No delay, no procrastination. The moment he gets something from Ramakrishna, he immediately applies. That is Shraddha. Guruvakyasya, Shastravakyasya, Satyabuddhyavadaranam, conviction, Satyabuddhyavadaranam, conviction in the words and putting it to action immediately. No delay. This time, Latu had heard a beautiful teaching of that teaching that the master had given to a devotee. It was also applicable to himself. What is that? Do all your household duties. Do all your duties. But keep your mind in God. Serve your wife, serve your husband, serve your son, serve your father, mother as your very own. But always know that they are not yours. One day you have to give them up. They will give you up and go away. Though a maid servant works in her rich master's house, her mind is on her home and family. How to keep your mind always on God in the midst of all the works, household work, office work, and everything? How to keep your mind on God? Wonderful analogy, wonderful example is given by Ramakrishna. A maid servant works in her rich master's house. She will consider the master as her own, the wife of the master as her own mother, and the children in the house as her own children. And she serves, she does all the work with great care. But her mind is on her own home in the village and the family in the countryside. She looks after her master's young children, saying them as my Hari, my Rama, yet in her heart of hearts she knows that they are not hers. Her family is in that village house. Likewise, I have come here to this world to finish off some of my desires and karmas. All these family members are here with me for some times. Afterwards, I have to give them up or they will give me up. Then where is my house, real house? Mon cholo nijo niketene, mind, go back to your real residence, that is God. God only is yours, none else. All else are temporarily here. They have come here, serve them, but keep your mind on God. So this wonderful teaching of Sri Ramakrishna helped Latu to go and serve, because until Ramakrishna comes back from Kamarpukur, how will he work there? How can he dedicate his mind to Ramachandra Datta's household work as a servant? Just do all your duties, but keep your mind on God. So how to do that? Wonderful example was given. I will also give another beautiful story, but this is a humorous story. There was one Swamiji called Niswanandaji Maharaj in our order. He is no more. He was also called Baba Maharaj. So sometimes that Swamiji was the head of Delhi Center, and he was also working in various other centers. Now one day, when he was having the responsibility of looking after some students, he had taken them to some spiritual excursion. While going in the vehicle with many students to another place, there was a huge accident, and the bus or the vehicle or whatever, it overturned, and everybody thought that they will all die in that accident. Even Niswanandaji also thought he's going to die. Then after the accident, everybody were in shock, but nobody died. They came back. But Swami Niswanandaji Maharaj started analyzing what happened. What was my state of mind at that time, at the time of accident, when all were shrieking and shouting for life. Even I was shouting for my life because I would die in that accident. Then that Swamiji started analyzing. So I have led so many years of spiritual life, but the thought of God, the name of God, never came during the time of death. That is very, very important. We all do all these spiritual sadhana so that at the time of the death we have to remember God. But Niswanandaji observed that at the time of death, during that accident, he never thought of God. He was shouting for life. Then he gave up all responsibility immediately. No this thing, no delay. He gave up everything. And he became a Parivrajaka, went on thinking of God. After that, he never took up any responsibility. He was doing tapasya somewhere in the forest. Then he was brought back to the order, but always he would be meditating and meditating, doing spiritual life. So that's why he was called Baba Maharaj, Niswanandaji. So when he was there in Delhi, a devotee came and asked that Swamiji, now Mahesh Yogi Ashrama there, they are teaching transcendental meditation. So I want to, that is called TM, transcendental meditation. So I want to learn that transcendental meditation. Can you teach me? Then Baba Maharaj, that is Niswanandaji, told, I do not know transcendental meditation, but I know a better meditation I can teach you. What is that, Swamiji? What is the better meditation you know? That is taught by Ramakrishna. What is that, Swamiji? Can you teach me? It is not transcendental meditation. It is transcendental meditation. Mahesh Yogi, TM or transcendental meditation, I do not know that. But I know another meditation taught by Ramakrishna. And what is that? Transcendental meditation, not transcendental, transcendental meditation. And what is the transcendental meditation? He explained. Ramakrishna has told that. I think most of us here, the best of effort you might put, there will be some tooth problem to everybody. You have lost your tooth or something. Almost 99.99% will have some tooth problem, isn't it? So when you had the pain in the tooth, it will be so severe. You cannot do anything. You cannot think of anything. Your mind will be always concentrated on the pain on the tooth. So what will happen during that time? Say a practical example has been given. How to meditate even while working. How to meditate on God even while doing all the activities. So now Ramakrishna gives a beautiful example. When you have the toothache, you will have so much of pain in the tooth. You'll be doing all the household work, the office work. You'll be doing all your activities 24/7. But even in your sleep, your mind will be on the tooth. Isn't it? Now you can understand this example very well. This is also given by Ramakrishna. So this is not transcendental meditation, but this is transcendental meditation. So your mind will be always under tooth. You will be doing all the work, going around everywhere, doing every work, but your mind will be focused on the tooth, pain on the tooth. Likewise, do all your duties, your office work, everything, your household work, serving your wife, serving your husband, serving your children, serving your father, mother, everybody, your neighbors, your boss, everything, do all your duties with great care. But always keep your mind on God. That is transcendental meditation. So all your work you can be meditating. So now this wonderful teaching on the transcendental meditation with the example of the tooth, but Ramakrishna gave the example of the maid servant. So do all your household duties, but keep your mind on God. Keep your mind in God. Serve your wife, serve your husband, serve your child, son, father, mother as your very own, but always know that they are not yours. God only is yours. Though a maid servant works in a rich master's house, her mind is on her home and family in the country. She looks after her master's young children, saying to them, my Hari, my Rama. Yet in her heart of hearts, she knows that they are not hers. Her real children, her real house is in the village. So we should all know, you are in the family, you are working, you are doing all the work. It's only temporary. They will be here for some time. They will leave. Everybody has to leave. Your father, mother, husband, wife, children, everybody have to leave you. They can't leave here. So where is your real this thing? God is your real father, mother, everything. God is yours. So keep your mind on God. Do all other duties. Look after everybody with great care. What a practical teaching. Not transcendenting everything and going away to Himalayas or the Ganga or to some other this thing and staying there in the caves. Be in the world. Do all your duties, but keep your mind on God. That is very, very important. What a practical teaching. Latu came to Dakshineshwar to visit the master on another day, only to find that Ramakrishna had left for Kamarpukur. However, this news did not lessen his tremendous longing to see the master. He has come to Dakshineshwar to see master, but by that time Ramakrishna had left to Kamarpukur. Ramakrishna was not there in his room or in Dakshineshwar. He was in Kamarpukur, 120 kilometers or 150 kilometers away. However, this news that Ramakrishna is not in Dakshineshwar did not lessen his tremendous longing. See the longing, see the vyakulata. Now you can see what is longing for God. See in this action of Latu, this young boy, you can see that what is longing for God. What is vyakulata? What is that earnest calling on God? You can see here. However, this news of Ramakrishna not in Dakshineshwar did not lessen his tremendous longing to see Master. What did he do? What did Latu do? This young boy, he sat on the bank of Ganga and started weeping piteously. He started weeping piteously. He had heard from someone. That Sri Ramakrishna was ever present at Dakshineshwar. See that faith. Somebody had told him that Ramakrishna is ever present in Dakshineshwar. Though he might have gone to Kamarpukur, but he is ever present even now. The words are enough. We hear so many things, but we don't have faith. Oh yes, somebody has told something. But here Latu, he heard that Ramakrishna is ever present in Dakshineshwar. That's enough. What did he do? He went to the bank of Ganga and started crying piteously, crying and weeping and wailing for Ramakrishna. Oh Master, I want to see you. Oh Ramakrishna, I want to see you. Where are you? Where are you, my Lord? Where are you, my Guru? Where are you, my Master? Please come, show thyself to me. He had heard from someone that Sri Ramakrishna was ever present at Dakshineshwar and that anyone who called on him would see him. Holding steadfastly to that idea, that young boy sat there from midday until evening, and he was crying and weeping and piteously for Ramakrishna. Ramlal, the nephew of Sri Ramakrishna, the master's nephew, was employed as a priest in the Kali temple at that time. He noticed Latu in the temple garden. In his own words, let us see what Ramlal, the nephew, is about to tell about this incident. In his own words, Ramlal is telling, as many times as I said to Latu, the master has gone away. To whom? In Kamarpukur. So many times this young boy is repeating, no, you don't understand. The master is definitely here. I found I could not convince the boy. So I went away to the temple to conduct the Vesper service. I wanted to do the Arati in the evening. So I went away to the temple. How can I convince this boy? This boy is telling, each time I tell him, no, master has left to Kamarpukur. He tells, no, you do not understand. Master is here. That was the faith of that boy, young boy. The master has gone home. So many times did he repeat, no, you do not understand. The master is definitely here. I found I could not convince the boy, so I went to the temple to conduct the Vesper service. Arati. When it was over, I returned to the spot where I had left Latu, taking with me some prasad for him to eat. Then I discovered him. From far off, I saw he was bowing down and touching his forehead to the ground. He's doing pranams, touching his forehead to the ground. Mystified, I kept quiet. After a moment or two, when the boy rose and saw me standing before him, he seemed surprised and asked me, where has the master gone? Just now master was here. Master had come. I did pranams to him. Now he has disappeared. Where did he go? He was surprised and asked me, where has the master has gone? Dumbfounded, I gave him the prasad and went back to the temple. So the longing cry of that boy, oh Master came, though he was in Kamarpukur, he was not in Dakshineshwar. He came from there and gave the darshan to the boy and comforted him. The moment Ramlal came there, Ramakrishna disappeared. So that's why he was surprised. Where did Master go? I saw him just now. Where did he go? That's all. You cry. Ramakrishna is told in this Kali Yuga, if you cry, giving up your food and sleep and rest for 3 days and 3 nights for God, you can get God vision, God realization. But can we weep for God? See this boy cried from morning to evening, piteously on the bank of Ganga. Oh Master, come, come, I want to see you. Where are you? And he got the vision of the Lord. So that longing, the earnestness for God, nothing else. If we have God realization, it's so easy. The boy got it. Innocent boy, the faith of the boy made the Lord to come to that place and give him the vision. So now we do, I think all of us are having that wonderful meditation. We are picturizing everything happening in front of our eyes, everything. So meditate on that. Go back to all these things. Meditate and picturize it. That is manana. Now you have done the shravana. You've heard it. Now sit down in meditation and again picturize the whole thing. Leela Dhyana, the whole thing you can picturize. Manana, Nididhyasana. So we will stop our conversation here. We have 10 more minutes. If you have any questions, you can ask. 10 minutes to 8. If you have any questions, you can ask. Any questions, any doubts? The subject which we have discussed today or about spirituality, you can ask. No questions, no doubt, then we can conclude with the prayer.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Yes, Kolan Chetty, please tell.
You've taken us to such great heights, Swamiji, with the Latu Swamiji. That makes us think that what we've learned in school is really useless. It's just there just to make us earn a few pennies. But the real gold is there in spiritual life. I thank you.
Yes. Any other questions? Any other doubts? Okay, then we shall conclude with the prayer. Om Priyatam Pundarikakshah Sarvayagneshwaro Harihi Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam Pridite Priditam Jagat Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu